Pipes are clay pipes. So, believe it or not, it's so strong. Clay has compacted so much, and some of them are wood pipes. Some of the gas pipes today are wood pipes. Mm-hmm. So you see gas explosion. Believe it or not, they're wood pipes. And so it's really no. So they're now changing all that. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to pick up. See, so what I'm coming to is today when you start looking at treatment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What is treatment? Like there's a drinking water treatment plant and there's a wastewater treatment plant. Mm-hmm. And you go to any township, West Windsor has it. There's a treatment plant right at the intersection of West Windsor and Plainsboro. Mm-hmm. You see there's a park we can walk between West Windsor and Plainsboro. If you go, there's a Veolia water treatment, and that's a sewage treatment plant.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, all the sewage comes to that facility. It gets treated. Where does the water go?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about it?
No.
It goes into a public water body.
So after the sewage, it goes into...
So when you look at any river globally, Ganges in India or any river in the world, you have a drinking water plant which takes the water from the river. Mm-hmm. You have a sewage treatment plant which discharges water into the river.
Oh, okay.
Then you have another city downstream collecting the drinking water from a previously treated sewage plant.
Oh, okay.
And then they discharge their sewage into the river.
So
then there's a third city. Then there's a third city picking up the double treated sewage water into as drinking water.
Yeah.
Now, what do we take? I'm a diabetic. I take diabetes medication. Mm-hmm. You take cholesterol drugs. You see all the advertisements in the television that you see, all the drugs that you see. Human body takes less than 20% of that. 80% of them get rejected. Mm-hmm. And they go as metabolites back into urine or fecal matter. That's that's
what it goes to the water bodies, which is...
And it doesn't get treated.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there is papers published in Lake Mead.
Okay.
Lake Mead is a large water body in outside Las Vegas. And over a period of 50 years, the Lake Mead levels have been dropping because it's a lake.
Yes.
Okay, it's hot in Las Vegas. It's and so the levels are dropping.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Las Vegas Clark wastewater treatment plant. I've been to the facilities and all the facilities there. They've been treating their sewage water and discharging it into Lake Mead.
Oh, okay.
The last 50, 70, 80 years.
So then why is the water decreasing?
No, look, the amount of evaporation loss and the amount of water outtake from that is much higher than what is being put back.
Yeah.
So, good point. What you said was an excellent point. So, people are taking the fresh water out faster than what your sewage water is coming in and rainwater and other storm water is coming in, to the point the levels are dropping and the pollutants are getting concentrated. All the pharmaceutical residue are getting concentrated on. Now, what is happening to the fish there? They've got dual sex.
Okay.
They've got lesions in the skin.
Oh my God.
Double heads. So if you want to look at the strangest animals or aquatic animals, aquatic bodies that you can see, you can see it in Lake Mead.
Okay.
That is an indication of what's likely to happen to humans in the future. If you want to try to put in a very dramatic situation, that's what is happening.
Okay.
Okay? Now, there are two things. Humans are the pollutants. We are the cause for everything.
Yes.
Okay? So I liked your way saying that you try to bring it. You're going to take your own responsibility and so on. But the responsibility goes beyond what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
It's individual responsibility. So I was an advisor to the government of Singapore for 10 years for the entire water strategy for the government of Singapore.
Okay.
And there, they had a very, very sustainable strategy. What they did was, Singapore depends for water requirement all from Malaysia. Even though there's a lot of rain in Singapore, there's a lot of water in Singapore, but they were bringing drinking water from Malaysia, and it was creating political conflict between Singapore and Malaysia.
Yes.
Because when Singapore played tough, Malaysia said, I'm going to turn the tap off.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I used to live there, so I know exactly what was going on at that time. And the problem with that is, so Singapore said, I want to become self-sufficient in water supply.
Yes.
So what they did was, they had 4 legs strategy, like 4-pillar strategy, sustainable strategy, which I was part of for 10 years, helping them develop that strategy. One was reduce consumption.
Okay.
You know what they did was whether you liked it or not, they know exactly how much water you consume because they send you a bill.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Right? Every month they send you how much water you used, you get a bill.
Yes.
They sent a flow restrictor valve. That this is like a little plastic piece.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being this diameter, if you make it much narrower diameter,
Yes.
what happens to the flow?
It reduces the flow.
So they
therefore-
cut down the flow because how many times when you brush your teeth, you leave your water on? How many times in the shower, you stand in front of the shower and let the water run?
Mm-hmm. Almost
So
all the time.
by doing the flow restrictor, they cut down reduction of consumption by 70%.
Oh, 70%. Oh, wow.
Drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to stand in front of the shower for 2 more minutes, so be it. Stand in front of the
Yeah,
shower
uh-huh.
instead of going for a war with Malaysia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first strategy that was implemented. And if you did not install, some people say, okay, why should I like my the gush of water on my body. So what they were doing is they were leaving the government came for inspection. If you didn't install it, they cut your water off.
Oh, wow.
That's possible in Singapore. It's not possible in the United
Yeah.
States. But you can enforce.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things, basically the enforcement is increasing the tariff. You can
Mhm.
increase the rates of the water. If you consume 100 gallons, it's one tariff. Now they are slowly starting. In the past, water bills used to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are like energy. If you consume this much, you get a low rate.
Yes.
If you consume this much, from this much to this much, your price is double.
Yes.
If you go from here to here, price is triple or
Double.
quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
So the way that they have done it is by tiered tariffs that they have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so that is one leg, reduction of consumption. Second was reuse. So Singapore was one of the early ones that deployed a strategy called toilet to tap.
Okay.
Literally from sewage water
Mm-hmm.
all the way back into drinking water.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Think about it. How
Yeah.
I just told you there's so many contaminants, nobody's
Yeah.
drinking. Oh my God, I'm asking to drink sewage.
Yeah.
So there's a mental block
Mhm.
related to that.
Mhm.
So what they did was they created a strategy called New Water, NUWATER, New Water. The New Water strategy was we are going to take the sewage, if matter can neither be created nor destroyed,
Destroyed.
it can only be transformed.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's what we learned in school, right?
Yeah.
That hasn't
Mhm.
changed.
Mhm.
If that is fundamentally right, fundamentally true,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
we can transform a dirty water to clean water.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
I was involved in that strategy to do that for government of Singapore.
Oh, okay.
So toilet to tap, and I
Yeah.
drink the treated water on public television
Oh, wow.
with the head of the water purification board and also the Prime Minister of Singapore. So that strategy was basically to purify the water to the point it is it's as better than any drinking water bodies in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then you basically add some minerals to make it remineralize it to get the tingly taste and so on to do it. But they did this and promoted the whole concept of bottled new water to the public,
Mm-hmm.
but it never went anywhere. You know why?
The public
Industry.
rejected it?
No, public was okay with it.
Oh, okay.
But the industries were willing to pay 3 times more price for that water because that water was
Oh.
cleaner. Semiconductor industry wanted that water because it was
Oh,
so
okay.
purified water.
Yeah.
They said, guys, I want that water to make wafer fabrication. Then I don't need to treat the water.
Yeah.
So my raw material input cost went down significantly for
Oh.
making the wafer. So right now, the whole strategy was we're going to purify the water and sell it to the industries who are willing to pay a higher price for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually treating and purifying water can actually be good.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so they proved that.
Okay.
So they try to do reuse strategy where they put technologies in place, multiple technologies in place to remove the solids,
Mm-hmm.
treat the water, purify the water, take it back all the way to drinking, disinfect the water with all the disinfection technologies, remineralizing the water because ultra pure water, purified water, you cannot drink it. It's acidic. It'll eat up your body. So you need to remineralize it to make sure there are salts in the water which gives you the tingly,
Yeah.
refreshing taste
Yeah,
is
yeah.
because of that. So when Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola bottles Aquafina or Dasani, they put a reverse osmosis system, purify the water and remineralize it
Oh, okay.
to get you that drinking water quality.
So like they take it, they purify it, and then they remineralize.
They remineralize it
Oh.
with calcium and magnesium.
Uh-huh.
And because magnesium is needed for heart,
Yes.
because you get a heart attack without magnesium. So you need to remineralize it with calcium and magnesium, and then bottle it to send it to the public.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
so that is reuse. So reduce, reuse. Then the third one was capturing every drop of rainwater.
Okay.
If you truly want to understand, so you're originally from which part of India?
I grew up in North.
You
Delhi.
grew up
Delhi.
Delhi. Okay. How both of
I
you?
come from Karnataka.
You're from where in Karnataka?
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay. My wife is from Bangalore. My parents live in Bangalore. So I'm originally from Tamil Nadu, Chennai. So I speak Tamil. So in Chennai did a phenomenal thing. Rainwater harvesting.
Yeah.
Chennai 20 years ago, you could drill a well. The well had water, but all the water drained because they extracted more water than what was put in, like Lake Mead.
Yeah.
Okay, so the water levels dropped. So they didn't have drinking water. So because the wells were drilled, were so close to the ocean, instead of fresh water, they got seawater intrusion. So all the wells become saline water. So instead of getting fresh water, the entire all the wells all along Chennai were absolutely, so they couldn't drink the water. Yeah, there was water,
Yeah.
but it's seawater.
Yes.
So not only by tapping more water, they basically encourage sea intrusion and all became seawater. They couldn't drink anymore.
Yes. Uh-huh.
There was one chief minister which I don't agree with her, I don't agree with any of the politics in India, but one good thing she did was rainwater harvesting. She literally mandated, like Singapore, if you don't put the thing on,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut your water off. She basically said, if you don't do rainwater harvesting, I'm going to turn your tap off. Sometimes progressive dictatorship is actually works.
Yes.
You need to make a massive change.
Yeah.
In Chennai, every household, anybody that had a roof on the rooftop had to actually install rainwater harvesting and put it into the ground below them.
Oh wow. What
What-
about the funding for that?
You have to spend the money. There was some subsidies given,
Uh-huh.
but if you don't get it, I'll cut your electricity off.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Give up your Starbucks coffee and go and spend the money here. Because if you don't protect, preserve, and prolong the asset water, mankind is not going to survive.
Yes.
So the right thing she did was she basically mandated that. Now, you won't see the effect immediately. She did not see the effect in her lifetime. This was done in 2010 and so on. 2016, a dramatic thing happened in Chennai. All the wells were full of water,
Oh,
and
wow.
all the wells were sweet water.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Because remember, water is a compressible fluid.
Yes.
Incompressible fluid.
Yeah.
Incompressible fluid. So when water started coming in, rainwater, instead of going directly to the ocean, were put in the same location underground, it pushed the sea back.
Oh, wow.
So this fresh water stayed back.
Oh, okay.
Now, most of the wells in Chennai do get water, and they get relatively good quality water. This needs to be mandated globally, because and that's what Singapore did. So the third strategy. Now, why the strategy is the third strategy, capturing every drop of water that falls on Singapore. What Singapore did is, why are we going and spending money on desalination and all that stuff, which is very expensive? Let me catch every drop of water that falls on my island, and I'm going to create water bodies, and public loves it. Whenever you have a lake right next in your backyard, don't you like it?
Yeah.
You like to go for boating, swimming, and things
Yes.
like that. So they said, I'm going to create as many water bodies as possible in my country, so that people can enjoy the water body. Plus, I'm also preserving it, and also I'm educating the people the importance of water. So that's what they did. So they had the Marina barrage that they created, very similar to what Holland did to keep the water out. They created that and started protecting, keeping all the fresh water inside the country, so that they don't need to depend.
On Malaysia.
And the last strategy that they did was desalination. So they also have desalination as a backup
With seawater?
with seawater
Oh, okay.
desalination. Because when you start looking at it, putting a washer and stopping the flow is the cheapest
Yes.
Yeah.
to protect the water. So they did that first. Second thing they did is reuse of the water. That's also cheap because you put a plant, take all the sewage water, and then basically treating
Is
it
it
back.
cheaper than desalination?
1/3 the cost, 1/4 the
Oh
cost.
wow. Oh.
1/4 the cost.
Energy consumption is very high.
Very
in
high.
desalination.
So that's it. The third thing they did was capture every drain because that requires massive infrastructure to capture. But they planned the city out in a way that they would, or you can do even in Chennai. So you've got two extremes. You have Singapore actually creating land bodies and creating huge lakes, but whereas in India they are destroying all the lakes. They are building in the lakes. That is the stupidest thing that India has done. That they should basically expand the lake system to protect the water, which is what Singapore did. But that is not practical in Chennai, like a crowded city like Chennai,
Yeah.
by rainwater harvest. So I think rainwater harvesting for a very dense population, even if they get 3 or 4 rainfalls a year, you know how much water falls at one time? If you capture it and protect it and keep it below the ground, it's for generations to come. You've protected that reserve. So that's now coming to New Jersey.
Yes.
Reduction is always helpful. Second is treatment reuse. There's a problem to get to the cleanliness what we're talking about. All the pharmaceutical residue, which is what I wanted to kind of show you, and I'm trying to look for that particular file. Now, what is the wastewater? Now, going to the reuse, what is the wastewater treatment plant treating today? The wastewater treatment plant is treating only 3 or 4 ingredients. You've got ammonia, and see, when again I'm coming back to God, how He has done it. It's a beautiful design. You think it's only a solid liquid separation, right?
Yes, yeah.
Solids on one side and liquid on the other side. He has also done another beautiful thing. He's put all the energy and bacteria on one side.
Oh.
Urine is sterile. It has got no bacteria.
Oh.
If you have bacteria in your urine, it's called bacterial infection. You're going to take antibiotics. So the membrane which separates that puts all the bacteria and all the energy in the water on one side, and on the other side is sterile water with all the nutrients, the ammonia, the phosphorus, all that, it goes into the urine side of the business. So he gave that beautiful separation where you can actually take this, the urine part of it, directly use it for agriculture.
Yes.
And you can take this one and basically convert it into biogas for energy
So where is that located? Like the
In
waste?
your body.
in your body.
No, like,
No, like-
where
Like
do we,
how can you
convert
use it for like biogas?
So what we are doing today in our toilets,
Uh-huh.
we are mixing both of them. The way
Yeah.
the toilets are designed today
Uh-huh.
is designed to mix both
Mm-hmm.
and add 2 gallons of fresh water on top of it. So you're taking a valuable resource and putting it, knowingly we are putting it into the waste. Every flush we do, we put it into the waste. So you're wasting 2 gallons of fresh water every time you flush, or 1.2 gallons per flush, whatever the efficient. You're mixing all that up. The minute you mix it up, can you extract the nutrients now? What has been separated already, it's like salt and pepper in 2 different bottles. You put it, suddenly you say, I want more salt. You automatically add more pepper. Simply, so first of all, you're diluting
Yeah.
the nutrients, diluting the energy. The minute you, in water industry we joke and call solution to pollution is dilution. That's exactly what we have been doing globally. So whatever is being done in the globe with the current wastewater treatment technology is 150 years old. It's antiquated, it's archaic, and needs to be changed. So that's what I'm doing at Princeton. So I'm doing it pro bono, and I've been kind of challenging them, all the professors here, calling them environmental criminals because knowingly they are doing something that's really, really wrong. So I come here on the weekends and I've got a lab, I do research. So not many people have fun playing around with sewage. I do, because it's a problem. It's a global problem that needs to be addressed. But and most of the pollution is coming from us.
Yes.
So you don't blame the lead pipes, don't blame all that. So today in the wastewater treatment plants, They are treating the BOD, which is biological oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand, COD, which are chemicals in that. They treat the ammonia, the nitrogen in the water, and phosphorus. And even nitrogen and phosphorus, and they call it treatment, but they really are not treating.
Okay.
But when you look at ammonia and nitrogen, it's a resource. You know how much it costs money to convert right today, the Haber-Bosch process to make ammonia today?
Maybe
It's
a
expensive
lot.
to make
Yeah.
ammonia.
Yeah.
Body is producing ammonia and releasing it in urine, and we are destroying it and converting it to NOx emissions.
What are those?
You take ammonia.
Uh-huh.
What happens with ammonia is when you, in a wastewater treatment plant, you put a lot of air into it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you put air into it? Because there's a lot of bacteria. You
Yes.
expect the bacteria to chew up the sewage.
Mm-hmm.
When the bacteria chews up the sewage, the nitrogen gets converted. The ammonia,
Mhm.
if you understand the chemistry, go back to your chemistry, the nitrogen cycle.
Yes.
We look at the nitrogen cycle,
Uh-huh.
ammonia gets converted to nitrate, NO2,
Yes. Yeah.
NO, N2O, and nitrogen. So that is
Oh,
how
okay.
the ammonia gets converted to nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, one is done in an aerobic mode
Mm-hmm.
with oxygen, one is done in an anaerobic mode.
Yes.
Okay? So you have to put a lot of oxygen into the thing to make it convert to
Yeah.
NO2.
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of CO2 pollution.
Mm-hmm.
So we are taking that, putting a lot of air through that, through energy with blowers and so on to do that. And the ammonia, which is a resource, gets transferred to NOx pollution, which is 300 times more toxic than CO2.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is point number one. Today, the way we are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part of it, we are taking a resource, ammonia, converting it into a pollutant which is 300 times more toxic than CO2 emissions. Keep that in mind. Phosphorus, 99% of the plants globally, phosphorus is a resource for plant production.
Mm-hmm.
NPK, the primary fertilizer you need for growing your plants. When you go to Lowe's and Home Depot, you're putting fertilizer, you look at the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the concentration, that's value for growing plants.
Yeah.
The phosphorus, we are not recovering. 90% of the plants globally are not recovering the phosphorus. They are discharging into the water bodies, which is causing eutrophication of the lakes and river
Yeah,
bodies,
yeah.
algae pollution and so on.
Yeah.
So the nitrogen and the phosphorus, which you discharge into the public water bodies, create the algae bloom, which make
Okay.
the water void of oxygen, and you have fish dying. So by discharging the untreated thing
Right.
and so on, so we are so-called treating the nitrogen, but we are actually destroying it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the nitrogen, if it goes into the water body,
Mm-hmm.
it can kill the fish. But what we are doing is, now we are converting into NOx pollution and putting it in the environment. The NOx goes up, acid rain comes back and still pollutes the water. So you have not solved the problem.
Yeah.
You're basically kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, for nitrogen.
Yeah.
Same thing with phosphorus. Phosphorus is a very limited resource on the planet, and instead of collecting and reusing the phosphorus, we are discharging into the water bodies without full treatment.
Mm-hmm.
COD and BOD are energy, chemical oxygen demand, biological energy. Instead of recovering and reusing that energy, we are converting into CO2 emissions by oxygenating it and putting the CO2 in the environment.
So how would we kind of reuse the, like, if instead of releasing all of this into the environment and it like affecting other parts of the environment, how can we reuse it? Like, how do we know how to reuse it?
That is the challenge. Okay, people have been taking the easy way out. So there are lots of new technologies right now they are coming about. First of all, in the entire wastewater treatment, what should we be doing? So today, when Environmental Protection Agency, they call themselves EPA. You know what a EPA is? And I call them differently. I call them Environmentally Polluting Agency, but that's a different reason. I'll tell you the reason why. Because the wastewater treatment plants, I talked about nitrogen, I talked about phosphorus. Nitrogen is a resource, phosphorus is a resource, COD, BOD is a resource.
Yes.
We are destroying the nitrogen, putting in NOx emissions in the
Yeah.
atmosphere. Phosphorus, we are discharging into the water, not
Water.
recovering it. and then the BOD, COD, you're converting into CO2 and emitting in the environment.
Yeah.
Okay, not recovering the energy in
Yeah.
that. Now there are technologies, and plus we are putting a lot of oxygen and CO2 emissions by putting blowers, pumping energy
Yeah.
from one to the other. So the new concept which is coming about, which leads to your clean water strategy, distributed, you have to take ownership of your own. That means today you are taking the ownership. Water pipe comes into your home. If you want to have a sustainable home, you can put a rainwater harvesting in your own home.
Yeah.
Collect the water. You have your own purification system, which is available. You can go to buy to home and Lowe's and Home Depot, and then get that system and then convert it into drinking water for your use. You
Yeah.
can do that instead of having the pipes bringing the water to you and all that.
Yes.
Same thing with sewage, trying to be able to treat it, destroy all the. These are the only pollutants that right now they claim they are treating, but they are not. But you know what pollutants that are in the wastewater, that in the drinking water today, that you are drinking that you don't know that you're drinking. They are all the pharmaceutical residue.
Oh, really? Okay.
If you actually go parts per trillion levels, you'll find pharmaceutical in your drinking water.
Oh, okay.
So when you're talking about clean water, New Jersey,
Yeah.
if you have a reverse osmosis system at home, yes, you can remove all the pharmaceuticals. But don't expect the government to provide you the
Yeah.
tap coming in. The tap coming in has pharmaceutical residue, has endocrine disruptors, has hormones in it, has pesticides in it, insecticides, herbicides, all in trace levels.
Mm-hmm.
So the EPA has set the level like this,
Yeah.
okay? And they fly under the radar screen in this range.
Oh, okay.
So this meets the EPA standards, but can you confidently tell me that these pollutants are non-existent in my water? They will not commit to it.
Yeah.
This includes pharmaceutical residue, endocrine disruptors, hormones, pesticide, insecticide, herbicides, fungicides, PFAS. Are you familiar with PFAS?
Yeah.
Okay,
So they
PFAS.
do claim that it's safe to drink this water, although it contains all these like certain.
But there is a direct link between that,
Uh-huh.
contaminants in the wastewater, and fetal growth and development. You can actually see it.
Yeah.
When you start looking at all this, the cancer, everything growing, because you get genetically coded when you're a baby,
Yes.
the first 9 months. All these impact in small levels. All it has to do is one cell that is being formed. If the contaminant is there, you're getting it genetically coded with a
Cancer.
and then it's there for you.
Yeah.
So we need to stop putting pollutants into the water stream.
Yeah.
That's where it comes. You can do distributed, decentralized, but the problem is, even in the Lowe's and Home Depot thing, where does the waste? The RO removes good water for you to drink. There's 30% of the water that goes down the drain. So you're further polluting it. Yeah, you're taking all the good stuff for you, taking the concentrated pollutants and putting it back into the sewer.
But then you're not knowing that you will eventually drink it again. It's
Exactly.
just
So it's like a vicious
Yeah.
circle. It's not
Yeah.
stopping.